Welcome, I'm Nina Griffin, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel. Today we'll talk about how to use the Magical Elections PDF that contains all of the auspicious magical elections for the coming month that I publish. You can always find it on ninagriffin.com under Learn, or you can go to patreon.com/ninagriffin and become a patron at the highest tier, and that includes the monthly magical elections document. When I first made this document, my vision was that it would be used by intermediate to advanced astrologers and magicians. However, these things have a way of taking on a life of their own, and a number of people have bought magical elections who have no experience in magic and maybe only a little experience in astrology. So for a while now, I've been intending to make a short video explaining how to use magical elections if you really have no magical background. This is not intended to turn you into an expert magician, but it will give you an idea of what it means to do a magical ritual, particularly one that's astrologically oriented, and it will show you what the different parts of the magical elections document mean for you. Now, I should start by saying that my magical tradition primarily derives from medieval and Renaissance era Western sources. This is certainly not the only magical tradition by a long shot, but it is the one that specifically addresses astrological talismans in the West. So that is primarily what I use and what I rely upon. The other thing you should know is that your own ritual can be as complex or as simple as you wish. Now, I will say one thing. Usually the more effort and preparation you put into your ritual and talisman, the better your outcome will be. It's just like anything in life. So here's how to do a magical ritual 101. So first, choose the talisman and the election that you want to use, and make sure that the election works for your location. That is called relocation, astrologically speaking, and that may be the subject of a future astrological video. For now, for our example, we will use the February 2nd, 2021 election for the fixed star Spica as an example. So depending on the strength of a given election, you will need to decide, based on my recommendation, whether you will do just a verbal petition or prayer during the elected time, which does not result in a talisman, whether you will make a paper talisman, or if you'll make a talisman in a permanent medium like stone or metal. Now, the little box that says Magical Recommendation section in the Magical Elections document will tell you what the appropriate media are for this particular election, according to me. Now, if you are making a talisman of some kind, whether paper or some other material, you will need to draw or engrave or otherwise make an image for that particular talisman. So for Spica, for example, there are two possible images, both of which are listed in magical elections. One image is a bird of your choice. The other one is a man laden with merchandise. The fixed stars, like Spica, also have special glyphs, and I include these in magical elections, and you will want to include these on your talisman if you're making one. Now, if there are multiple images that are offered, like a man laden with merchandise or a bird, you can certainly choose whichever appeals to you more, or you can choose one that better fits your purpose for that particular talisman. So if your purpose for the Spica talisman is to increase your business, maybe the man laden with merchandise could be a particularly useful choice. Now, as far as doing the ritual, you may choose to start your ritual a few minutes before the electional time so that you are actually making your talisman during that electional window that I list in magical elections. So in my location on February 2nd, the Spica electional window starts at 10:56 p.m. So here's what I would do, say around 10 o'clock. I would gather any implements I needed for the ritual, take a shower, change into my ritual clothes, and then about 5 to 10 minutes before the actual window opens, I might do a quick space clearing ritual. I like to use the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which was used by the Golden Dawn Magical Order, but you certainly don't have to use that. That's just my preference. Then, around the time that the window is supposed to start, or maybe even a few minutes before, I will light a candle and the appropriate incense. Now, the incense is listed in the suffumigation section of magical elections. Here there are several options. You could use trefoil or trefoil as it's called, periwinkle, wormwood, or mandrake, all of which are associated with Spica. In this election, because the moon is the planet that's activating Spica, you could also use a lunar incense such as linden or melon. So again, lunar plants could be used for this particular election. Now, by this time, the electional window should have opened, and so I will read the Orphic hymn to the focal planet, so that would be the moon. There's the additional resources section in Magical Elections, which points you to several possible sources for the Orphic hymns if you're unfamiliar with those. They're just very ancient poems that were used to be read in mystical rituals, and they include all of the planetary deities as well as a number of other ancient Greek and Hellenistic gods. So now you are in the electional window. You should state out loud your goal for the ritual or talisman. Then you will want to write it on the talisman if it's paper, or engrave it if you're using, say, a metal or stone, if you have the space for it. And then, this is important, you will need to draw or engrave your chosen image onto your medium. Then you will want to chant the names of the angels and spirits that are listed in the spirits section of the Magical Elections document. This is very important in my experience, as these are the beings who intermediate between us here on Earth and the higher divine planetary forces. In addition, many magical elections will feature specific colors that are associated, say, with a planet. In this case, because, again, it's a lunar election that focuses on Spica, the colors of the moon are white, silver, and light green, so you can incorporate these either in the talisman itself, your own clothes, or any altar decorations that you may wish to use. I also recommend at some point before the ritual is over, taking your talisman and waving it through the smoke of the incense or the suffumigation in order to charge it and potentize it. So then the ritual is over. You can take your talisman and you can keep it with you if it's small enough, or you can put it somewhere in your home so that it can do its work. I don't have a preference as to where the talisman goes particularly. I don't have a preference as to whether it should be secret or hidden, or whether it can be kept out in the open. The main thing is that it's safe and that you can put it somewhere that you don't have to worry about it. All right, I hope this gave you some ideas for how to use magical elections. My name is Nina Griffin, and thanks again for watching.